Hello and welcome to my channel, and welcome to a Sunday morning meetup in which I present the 10 BookTubers Personalities Tag, and in which I discuss the personalities of 10 of my favourite booktubers who have less than 600 subscribers. All 10 of these booktubers create worthwhile and interesting content and post fairly regularly. As viewers, we tend to drift inexorably towards the tried and tested big well-known channels, and of course they deserve our time and attention because we've come to trust them for the quality and interest of their videos. What I'm seeking to do in this tag is to explore the personalities of some of the smaller booktubers who are members of the School of Genius, and whose content I have enjoyed and whom I think you might enjoy too. Some of these booktubers you may already be familiar with, as they have been creating content for some time, but some of the others may be new to you, and I think that for one reason or another they all deserve our attention. I'm going to begin with the booktuber with the lowest number of subscribers as of today, and end with the booktuber that has the greatest number of subscribers, but they all have less than 600 subscribers. The answers to these questions are going to be subjective because it is difficult to say why we are attracted to someone. We just are. Nevertheless, I've tried to give tentative reasons as to why I value these booktubers. There are links to all their channels in the show notes below. Question 1. Which booktuber underrates themselves? For this question, I want to speak about Paul of PK's Books. Paul is a gentle soul who lives in Scotland. He's quietly spoken, but he has a lovely, subtle wit and is thoughtful and interesting. It is worthwhile to cultivate his acquaintance because the more I watch him, the more I begin to appreciate what a special person he is. He has tended to underrate himself in the past, but I hope that now that he has returned to making regular content, that he will grow in confidence as he realizes how much he is valued by the booktube community. So after watching the rest of this tag, pop over to Paul's channel and find out for yourself. Question 2. Which booktuber doesn't take themselves too seriously? For this question, I want to speak about Madelyn of Made with Books. Madelyn began her channel about 4 months ago. She has a sweet personality and a lovely German accent and is self-deprecating. She posted a video of all her bloopers, which means she doesn't take herself too seriously and has a sense of humour, which I like. Madelyn is 30 this year, which is no secret because she posted a video titled 30 Books to Read Before I Turn 30. I will link that video below in the show notes. Madelyn plans to read some pretty serious books and to discuss some very serious topics on her channel in an intelligent and engaging way, so there will be no shouting and screaming and waving of hands in her videos. Question 3. Which booktuber has an understated delivery? For this question, I want to speak about Ksenia of Books and Men. Ksenia began her channel about 7 months ago. Watch her video on rereading Wuthering Heights to appreciate her understated delivery and her articulate and excellent analysis. Question 4. Which booktuber has a quirky, rambling style? For this question, I want to speak about Jay Shea. Jay lives in Victoria, BC, and has been creating content for about a year. Jay is a likeable booktuber. He has a quirky, rambling and enthusiastic style. As he himself admits, he talks about books a little too much, but he speaks to you as he would if you were there in his own home. He deserves to be better known. Check out his channel, you may like him. Question 5. Which booktuber reads highbrow literature? For this question, I want to speak about Sonya of An Enthusiastic Reader. Sonya lives in Denver and she began her channel about 7 months ago. She reads literary fiction and memoirs. If you like intelligent and articulate reviews, then check out Sonya's channel. I recommend her video of Sean's 10 Books Tag, script Kindle version, April 11, 2019. The link is in the show notes below. Question 6. Which booktuber has a quiet demeanour? For this question, I want to speak about Lena of Elena Makridina. Lena is an English-speaking Russian booktuber who began her channel 2 years ago, but has only been publishing regularly for the past year. She said of herself, "I discovered the BookTube community quite recently, and now I can't help myself. I want to read almost every book I come across. I missed out on so much. I want to read sci-fi, historical fiction and non-fiction, mysteries, international classics and new releases everybody talks about." Lena is both a writer and a reader. She has a quiet demeanour, but is sweetly charming when you get to know her. She's open, honest, humble, and worth cultivating. Lena is not glibly articulate, as English is her second language, but she has always something interesting to say. Check out her March 2009 wrap-up, which is linked in the show notes below. Question 7. Which booktuber has intelligence and depth? For this question, I want to speak about Alba of Seriella. Alba is Puerto Rican, and she began her channel about 4 months ago. She reads in both English and Spanish. Alba is intelligent, articulate, serious, witty, and engaging. She reads some serious fiction and non-fiction, and she analyzes them out of the depth of her understanding and the width of her experience. For an example of her sharp intelligence, I recommend the video she made on At Canaan's Edge My Reaction to get the flavour of her style. There's a link in the show notes below. Question 8. Which booktuber is warm and friendly? For this question, I want to speak about David Murphy. David began his channel about 2 months ago, but in that short time he has established himself as an intelligent reviewer of political and historical works as well as novels. To know David is to instantly like his warm and friendly style and to enjoy his concise analysis of the books he reads. The Springtime for Doesnt tag he did recently may be a good place to get a feel for David's style. See the link below. Question 9. Which booktuber is self-deprecating? For this question, I want to speak about Roz of A Journey Through Books. Roz began her channel about a year ago. She's a high school English teacher in South Africa. Roz is self-deprecating, witty, and quietly spoken. Roz reads a wide variety of genres and always has something interesting to say about the books she reads. Watch one of her reading wrap-ups. I've put a link in the show notes below. Question 10. Which booktuber speaks in quiet, measured tones? For this question, I want to speak about Brian of Bookish. Brian began his channel about 9 months ago. I enjoy his quiet, measured delivery. He enjoys writing non-fiction. He features some poetry on his channel and all things bookish. I've put a link to the AuthorTube tag he did a short while ago in the show notes below, which will give you a feel for his style. But for another side of Brian's personality, I recommend watching the brilliant original tag he produced recently called BookTube at the Gym tag. I'm going to tag all 10 of the booktubers mentioned in this video and of course anyone else who would like to do this tag. All the questions are listed in the show notes below. In my forthcoming Wednesday interlude, I will be shining the spotlight on Sir Winston Churchill as a writer. So be sure to subscribe and ring the notifications bell if you want to learn some fascinating information about Churchill which you may not have considered before. So that's all folks, and remember to comment, subscribe, like and share, and I'll be back soon with another BookTube video.